What's up, everyone? I'm Beast from Dylan the Beast, and I'm here tonight once again, joined by
J-Dog.
and we are doing our second look review of The Surge from 2017.
Brand new game.
Focus Interactive and Deck 13. A game that we actually enjoyed.
Yeah, believe it or not. That's why I think the video isn't that exciting. Honestly, we don't have anything to really complain about too much. We only played through really the first area.
Yeah.
But
You'll see a lot of that in this
there was
video.
a lot to like in this game.
Yeah, there was. It had a lot to like. Graphics, for one, as we're seeing here, a really cool opening movie. And you're going to see, just once the game starts, you see some really cool graphics as well. So, I don't want to give overall scores right away during the video, because that's not fair. But so we're going to talk about a lot of things. Graphics, audio, gameplay controls, combat, some new introduction in the combat system that they have. I really like their combat system. We'll talk about the boss battle, which was kind of a letdown. We'll talk about a really cool sub-boss that we fought too. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I would say this is a major step up from Lords of the Fallen.
Absolutely.
Personally, I mean,
Big.
I didn't really care for that game much at all, but this is better for sure.
Definitely much better.
One of the things I think we're going to see here later on in the video that I really liked was the way the levels kind of interconnected and wove back upon each other. There was a ton of different shortcuts you could open, different cool little ways you could find, elevators, secrets, and those are things in level design that I really, really look for.
Yeah, that was the one thing about Dark Souls that we really liked, the original Dark Souls, is that everything was initially interconnected. This opening scene here, I only show a little bit of the opening scene here, but very shortly we are going to cut to me controlling the character. And once we do, you'll see just how smooth it was. Really something I enjoyed. The actual character control in this game is fantastic. Spot on, very, very accurate, very on point. Something I really liked about this game. I really did.
Yeah, I thought this opening was just... I don't know. I actually preferred, the opening where they're dragging your body, or your body's being dragged out into the wasteland. That's the way I wish they would have just opened the game.
Well,
you could have seen this on a video recording or something you find later. Because I thought this was a little slow. Maybe it was just to get you started with the movement, so maybe I could understand it, but...
Well, I feel like what they were trying to do, they were trying to introduce Creo.
It was a way that they allowed you to pick heavy build or light build.
Yep.
Is what they
Rhino
basically
versus
ends
Lynx.
up being. Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know. It was okay, but...
Here we'll see our character for the first time. This is the first game I was commenting to J-Dog in the gameplay. You're actually going to see me start talking about it in just a moment. This is the first game I remember ever playing in where I played as somebody in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Even for a short amount of time, and I feel like that really made me kind of connect with the character on that level. And you're looking for, what do you want to do? You want to work with this. You want to work with Creo. Do you want to play as the Lynx, the fast, the agile, or do you want to play as the Rhino, the strong, the heavy brute? So that's where you have to make a decision. You'll see coming up here, we're going to be hit with another video, another movie, and the graphics in that movie, downright incredible. As far as I was concerned, I was really, really excited. The graphics overall for this game, 9.25. Had no problem with the graphics for this game. Very smooth, played very well. Felt like it was really optimized. I am running the AMD Radeon 290X Vapor X 8GB card. Had no problem running this game on the highest graphical settings available. Really, really enjoyed this game. So let's talk about audio. It's exactly what you expect from a hack and slash game like this. Very accurate audio. There's even some scenes I might show you guys later on when we're in the central hub. It plays kind of almost like a Western style music. I really thought that was cool. J-Dog, give us your take on just... give us a little bit more about what you thought about this game going in and what you expected.
Well, I had very low expectations going in, to be honest with you. I never even heard of it. And once you mention it was made by the people that did Lords of the Fallen, I had even lower expectations because that game just wasn't for me.
No.
I was pleasantly surprised with what we played, though. And probably that's because I had such low expectations, or maybe I didn't have any expectations, and sometimes that's great. And it's always better to be pleasantly surprised than,
really disappointed,
really
like
disappointed
we were with Prey. Yeah. definitely,
So,
definitely.
you know, you even can watch the video there. I'm doing a lot of just watching. I'm not really commenting. The gameplay was engrossing, I thought. That was a key word. We felt very interested and into the game right away. We understood the game. It was fairly easy to understand what you needed to do.
Really pulled us in, and it was very hard to sit there and commentate because we were more focused on fighting the enemies, as you'll see here. This was our first actual encounter with combat in the game, and I feel like I got lucky with this huge cutter I'm about to take, but I thought it was pretty cool. I liked it a lot. So,
They do like kind of this very ultra basic tutorial so you can understand what you're doing, which was fine. Real simple little enemies.
Yep,
But
right
at
bump.
least we could kill the first enemy.
Yeah, we killed the first enemy without taking a ton of damage. Right bump is going to be a horizontal left and right attacks, and then right trigger is going to be the overhead downward vertical attacks, and that plays into action a little bit more later on when you talk about cutting body parts, but I'll save that for when we actually get there in the video.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we liked a lot about this was just the way the character moved.
It's so smooth.
It was very smooth.
Yes, and very, very responsive. So you guys will see that, just the overall play style and the overall, I guess, I want to say how well I do, but you can feel it. You can just see it in my gameplay. I really...
kind of like a quick dodge.
Yep, the A is that quick
More
dodge.
like a Bloodborne style dodge, which I actually don't mind. I'd say the one thing that we didn't figure out in this game, or that we didn't play enough to figure out, like, I like this. See this right here where we find little items hidden off in corners and stuff?
That's something Dark Souls did that we really liked, and this game continued it.
Yeah.
And almost,
not
really-
to just get on the Dark Souls comparison train, but
But
they
is.
do model themselves after that, and I think they've even stated that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously then they should be okay with getting a review that compares it to a game that we both view very favorably.
That was a cool
So we like to
dive
find that where, hey, you can go up on these ridges and,
Drop
you'll
down
see
and-
hopefully if you put it in here where we break through some boxes and stuff, or we end up using elevators to get to different levels. I thought that was really key. And these levels maybe don't look big right off the bat, but they have second,
They're
third
so
levels.
much bigger than they look.
And there's so much more to do than you think there is. There's underground areas. There were some areas that were very dark that we didn't go in even.
So let's talk about a central hub here. This is kind of the setup for the first central hub. This is the med bay, as they call it. This is where you level up your character, you level up your suit, you add more implants, which will allow you to do different things. Anything from the healing via the B button, which you'll see on my screen, and you'll see I did that right away when I started fighting very first off, and to showing enemy health, to increasing your health exponentially with your suit as well. Jared, just talk about it for a little bit. Keep talking about it. Tell them about this central hub here.
So this basically works as a bonfire or your Firelink Shrine, okay? And you can do, like Justin said, all your weapon upgrades, all your different upgrades, and what I really liked, and again, to go back to the interconnectivity of the levels, is so, it looks like there's only 3 or 4 enemies out there, and then you're going to open a door, and then you're going to find the stairs, and it's going to lead you up, and you're going to go around, and you're going to open a shortcut, and you're going to have 2 different ways you can come out of this. So they're using this, basically, kind of you think of it as a hub and spoke type of thing, right? Where this hub, maybe you got one spoke in one direction to start off with, and then you're going to end up with a second, and maybe a third. And that's what I thought was really great. And for as critical as I am sometimes about games that you've seen us review on here, I was pleasantly surprised with this game. I just can't... Justin and I have been actually talking about the last couple days how much we liked it. I think my biggest thing, and I know we can talk about this a little bit more in depth later on, is just simply that games that only have a single-player campaign aren't probably going to justify a $60 price tag.
Very difficult to justify that price tag.
Especially an untested IP, so to speak.
Yep. So you guys will see my weapon bouncing those first couple times. This was the tutorial, and I was ready to start cutting limbs off. I wasn't necessarily following along, and I should have been. But as soon as I start following along, you see I attack the unarmored part, and I do more damage, stun easier, and it's easier for me to take out these enemies. Initially, I thought that the enemy was going to explode. And so actually, we want to invite our friend, Dan Van onto camera just for a moment here to
Dan.
say hi to
Oh,
everybody. Dan Van
Have you
here.
played this about the Surge? Have you played this?
I just saw it online. I didn't actually check it out.
It's
I
a
saw
decent-
a quick look of it.
Decent single player campaign.
It's way better than I thought it would be. Yeah, it's
so-
way better than
So again, you're going to see us now. This is when they start to bring in the concept of unarmored limbs here. We're going to attack the arm and the head to do damage. I was tempted to cut his other arm off to get his chainsaw, but I figured after the last enemy, I better not even bother. So the actual ability to target different body parts, cut them off, and take items that are equipped to them, I thought was really cool.
That is a really innovative thing that I don't know if I've seen it in other games as central of a point as it is in this game.
Because if you want the
You
chainsaw,
want different weapons, you want different armor pieces, you can go out and find them and carve them off, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
I liked that, and it's easy to carve them off, too. You can target the body part, you hit it enough till you weaken it, and then you do the finisher move.
And actually, if you just saw that there, you saw my character kind of spinning around like a lunatic. That's how responsive that left stick was. When you move it, he moved with it. I thought that was really, really cool, and I liked it a lot.
It's a good looking game.
Yeah, the graphics are very good in it.
Yep. And again, you are watching a recording that I did, so the actual game itself looks
Yeah, it looks great.
10 times better. It's really cool. The cinematics and everything are great, and I really enjoyed this combat. I cannot hammer that home enough. The combat in this game was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So we're going to fight an enemy up here that's going to drop my power core. And he's going to hit me with his heavy weapon. You're going to see how much damage this attack is going to do to me. This is what we mean when we say you need to
Now,
be...
you see that attack right there where you hit him in his heavy armor? That did no damage to him.
absolutely no damage. But
So
you're,
that's why the targeting of body parts is a very central part of this game.
Yep.
And it's something that, they focused on in their development.
absolutely.
And they focused on making it an easy, that could be a really difficult thing.
Watch what's going to happen here now when he hits me with this. Watch how much damage this guy's going to do to me. It's crazy. I mean, remember, I'm still first level, but, this is still the intro. Look at that.
Wow.
Did over half of the life I had left. Could have easily killed me there. And
So that's kind of, again, harkening back to Dark Souls, right?
Yep.
That first enemy you fight can kill you. If you aren't paying attention, if you're not dodging the attacks, and if you're not, participating in the combat, if you're just smashing buttons, you're going down.
You are. So let me just cut in here for a second. Now, this was talking about core power and core level. Basically, this is your leveling up system. You'll see I need 395 to level, and I had 600, however, over there on the left.
Just like Souls.
That's how you make your rig stronger, and that's how you get more points, more ability to equip implants, to make yourself stronger and more of like an actual rig badass, basically.
What I liked, honestly, when you kind of talked to me about this game before we started playing it, I was like, dude, this just sounds like a train wreck. Honest, that was in my head. I did not think I'd sit down here and watch an hour and 40 minutes of game.
Yeah, I never thought you'd stick around that
Yeah,
long.
I thought I was going to laugh it off and I was out of here.
Because, like, Prey, you were laughing in 5 minutes.
Yeah. So this game, I liked the level system. It was easy to understand how you equip the little implant to give yourself extra boosts or extra abilities, how you upgrade your weapons. Everything seemed pretty intuitive. It didn't take a lot of explanation. You didn't have to read any audio logs or 26 different files on a computer to
I want you guys to
understand
hear
what was
this.
going on.
Hear this really quick. I love their little country music. It was one of my favorite things that they did. And what we just did there was unlock some schematics.
So I never actually heard that when you were playing because you had the headphones on.
Oh, I thought that's so cool.
So do you think that's just like, is it just such a out of place type
Yeah.
of music for a
Yeah.
game like this that it resonates?
Yeah, it's like a resting music.
It's
like,
like a
hey,
resting-
you're resting
yeah.
at the
It's a
bonfire,
chill
so you
music.
hear like the woo
Yeah.
when you rest at the bonfire. You hear the country style music here when you rest in the med bay. I thought that was so cool. And this is where we talk about the crafting system in the game. There is a very expansive crafting system, parts, and they use tech scrap as well. And you can also, if you saw that on there, upgrade the weapons and armor that you have, which is very integral as well. So we're going to get to the part here. We're going to show our first sequence where we cut off a body part here. We're going to unlock we're going to go for the big finisher here, and we're going to cut off a body part. So it says hold X, so I do that. And
nice.
boom, I carve off the body part. That's the weapon I wanted. Now when I pick it up, it's going to be the item I cut off his arm. There's just a schematic I found on him, and then there is the Aster Spectre Bite, the weapon he had. Really cool, really big power weapon. Not necessarily a weapon that was for me because it's a significantly slower playstyle. Very much so.
And I mean, I think what I was gonna say, and I might not have made the actual comment is, or did I make it earlier about the stamina and upgrading the stamina?
If you can't upgrade stamina,
we didn't. I don't think we actually made a stamina upgrade in the game. That
but
we
if you
played for an
can,
hour.
you need to.
But knowing how to do that would be ultra important. And hopefully, and again, I can't speak from what we played, but hopefully it's as intuitive as the rest of the game. It's not some crazy, hard to figure out thing. Because when you run out of stamina, you basically stand and get wailed on. And I don't know if you're going to have it in the game here.
I don't have it in the gameplay.
But you do run out of stamina. When we played in that first trial we did, you ran out of stamina quite a bit, and that is something you need to get upgraded immediately.
This was our favorite part of the gameplay that we played. This kind of mini boss with the butterfly blades.
Yeah,
He
this guy
did
was
so much
awesome.
damage. He was so fast. He actually killed us. That you saw. We picked up our tech scrap there because we had to recover it. He actually killed us the first time we fought him. He was
This is
insanely
maybe,
fast.
an hour into the game?
Yeah, it's about an hour into our gameplay. He was insane. This was such a fun fight. And of course, once I get the finish, I cut it off. And now I'm going to get his awesome Yusuke butterfly blades. So that was really exciting.
and we talked about that. It was like, that was a great fight.
That was a fun fight. So here's kind of like a little
And I wish
construction
he coulda
door.
I wish he could have had maybe twice as much health, and he would have been the actual boss.
Yeah, he should have been the first
This
boss.
guy right here was a very, you have to fight him a specific way boss,
We don't like bosses like that.
which I don't like. We actually had to look up on the guide how to beat this guy.
Lords of the Fallen did that a lot. You had to fight the boss one way, and if you didn't, you died. It was very just this is it. Do it
Yeah,
or
for
you're
whatever
dead.
reason, that's just not a style I like. I want to be able to, if I
We wanna fight it our
him with
way.
a bow and sit in a corner and pick them, then I want to do that. If I want to go rush them and dodge, I want to do that. This guy literally, the only way you fight him is you have to tackle the legs, knock him down, get on his head, beat him down.
Yep. And
Yeah.
rinse, wash, repeat for the rest of the fight.
Just, I don't know. I guess it makes sense that you have to knock him over because he's a huge robot,
Yeah.
but
Well, does he at least change his tactics midway through or anything?
He actually
like
does,
that? Does
but
he have phases?
but I didn't have him. I didn't have.
There's the damage.
Yeah.
At first, you weren't seeing any.
yeah.
I didn't
so-
have him on the full orange bar long enough for him to actually start launching missiles this round through. But he does launch missiles, and they're a pain in the
That's
ass.
only if you're far away from him.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. This boss I just thought was tedious.
We
and
actually got some comments on our full video that agreed with that and
I
said that the
did
boss
not-
was lame.
Yeah, I did not like this boss.
Nope.
No, again,
For a
this
first
is the only
boss?
boss we fought.
But for a first boss, it should set the pace better than that, I think.
Yeah, I would definitely. This would probably be the weakest part of the game we played. I'd
Yep.
say that was kind of our consensus.
Yep.
We liked pretty much everything else in the game but this.
Yep.
That being said, again, I look at a game like Dark Souls. The bosses in that game, not all of them, but a lot of them, are pretty great.
Make the game.
They make the game. You remember your boss fights in that game. You remember your epic kills. This guy doesn't feel that epic when you kill him. He just feels like you chop him, and then you know you're going to get him once you figure him out.
You can see me stopping my attacks there, and you see my green bar finally filling. That's
Yeah.
what we mean when we talk about
Look
the
at the
stamina.
stamina, how bad it runs out.
It
is-
drops very
yeah.
quickly.
So again, I can't speak from what we played, but we've got to figure out how to upgrade stamina. I'm assuming you can, because it wouldn't make sense if you couldn't.
Another thing that was annoying is every time you knocked this guy down, he took you down too. Like, they didn't want you to get right around the front of him and hit him. That was very annoying.
Yeah.
That was almost like a fuck you to the player.
So they just do a shockwave
No,
automatically.
he falls on top of you and like
Yeah.
knocks you over. I found that very
Unless you can somehow dodge. I don't know if you can.
see, there's no
Yeah.
point for
Yeah.
that. That shouldn't happen.
It doesn't do damage to you? It doesn't
No,
do damage
no
to you.
damage,
so,
but it
yeah.
slows
just a
you.
knockback.
Yeah, it slows you way down. There was no need for that. That was kind of stupid, I thought. But
It's like
okay.
artificially extending the fight.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
artificial difficulty. We have no time for it. We're not interested in it. We want a challenge.
Yeah, this looks like it took you 10 rounds of slashing him
Yeah.
down, and it only really needed
to
do
where
5.
the fight didn't really, it wasn't a hard fight, and the enemy never got like more challenging as it went on.
Yeah,
It
look
was
at your
basically run
health.
behind him.
You, you healed yourself a few times, but it wasn't like
and then you run behind him, you chop him down, and you you keep hitting his head until he dies.
One thing I liked though was I liked their inclusion of kind of the Dark Souls style fog gate. They have like the construction gate, which you saw right before the fight started. I passed through that. That was really cool. And you got to see us use that lift there. I'm glad I got to sneak that into the video. But I know we're coming to the end of my gameplay, what we're actually going to show here. Just another example of cutting off big things, getting weapons. We're going to find, this is going to show us the second med bay coming up here, which again works more as like a hub, kind of like your bonfire from Dark Souls. J-Dog,
One of the comments I made during the gameplay was, I hoped we got out of the factory.
Yeah.
Now, we saw two areas. They were both inside factory areas, pretty much. That's not going to thrill me. If this whole game takes place inside of a factory like that,
Or like a lab setting.
or a lab type thing, or space, or tech, or wherever the hell they are.
Did you see any sort of map or anything like that?
Well, yeah, and again, that was something else we weren't sure about. If there's a fast travel system, you can go between areas, but when you go to the second area, there is a map that overlays to show you, okay, here is the area you are, now you're in this area. It's like, kind of like, have you Zelda Breath of the Wild?
Yep.
Okay, and you can see each of the parts of the map fill in as you get the thing, kind of like that.
So is it open world?
No.
Is it?
But
open...
can you fast travel between areas? I'm not sure. And like redo parts of them, or
Just
look
go back
for
and fight
items, or
weaker
fight the
enemies.
weaker enemies to level up. Things like that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We never tried it. Something I would think maybe it would be, or you can unlock it or
Because
something.
there were some areas back that were not open yet.
Yeah. So
I
you're
would think
right.
we can go
Okay.
back
So you must
eventually.
have to be able to go back. It would make sense.
I would think we could eventually.
Because that one was level 55. There was
Yeah.
one override thing 55.
Yeah.
If you didn't have that, you're
weren't
never
going.
going to be level 55 on those enemies.
Unless you have nothing better to do.
Yeah,
which-
it would take you 10 days to get there.
All right,
so.
so let's break it down, J-Dog. Let's just talk about it. Again, graphics, I think we both agree were great.
Yeah, graphics were good.
The audio for me was just fun. I'm going to give it a fun. I'm not even going to give it a score.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
and
give
I
it
didn't
fun.
hear it, so it's not fair for me to comment on it. It looked like you were
It
enjoying
was.
it.
I was. It was fun.
It wasn't grating and obnoxious.
No,
like
it
Prey.
wasn't like Prey every
So it
time
was
you
a
fight
nice
an enemy.
change.
It wasn't Bruce Lee flying out of nowhere either.
Yeah.
Actual gameplay. Other than that boss fight you guys saw, I really liked it. I really enjoyed the gameplay. Very, very intuitive controls, very easy to handle. When you run out of stamina, you're fucked. But otherwise, the actual, like, you saw me swirl the stick and you saw my character respond instantly. I like that. I like it when it's not real rigid. And when I saw my character moving like that, it reminded me of Dark Souls.
You know, I remember the first Dark Souls game where your character felt not super quick like that. And then to the third game where he was much quicker.
Yep.
Just the movement and the way the character just felt within the world seemed so much smoother in Dark Souls 3 versus 1. Obviously, it's 5 years later
Yeah.
or whatever when they made it, so I was hoping,
We hope they would make some progress.
that's a good progress, but you can see this game is more Dark Souls 3 for the way your character feels.
Let's talk buy, rent, wait for sale, or never touch. For me, it's a toss-up between buy and wait for sale.
Well, you know my thoughts on this. And I think that goes for just about all games. Now, I do think of a game of like Zelda. I paid full $60 for that. That doesn't have multiplayer. That basically has the campaign. But that's an established franchise. If nothing else within me other than to say I want to own the new Zelda game, okay? Yeah, that's been around for like 20 years. Okay, I can pay that for it. And that's going to give me, 100 and some odd hours of gameplay if I want to do everything in that game?
Yeah,
I'm going to get my
easily.
money's worth out of it. No doubt. I don't know enough about this game to say $60 for it. That's my biggest reservation.
What about 20?
20, I'd have it already.
If you had paid $20 for this game, would you be happy?
I'd be happy with it.
Okay.
Because that's what it feels like it's worth to me. Okay? Even remember when I bought the first Dark Souls game, I paid $15 for it. I bought it used. Because I wouldn't have played that game alone.
No.
The fact that I loved
I never
that game,
played it until I realized we could play it together.
Yeah, once you could summon in and we could play together, that was great. And something I was thinking about the other day is the summoning mechanic works great within the world of Dark Souls for how it's scripted in their lore, right? But how great would it be? I thought Nioh had a great chance to do this, okay? And they fucked it up. All right, and it's one of the biggest disappointments of the year for me in gaming, is Nio does not allow you to just go with a friend
And play.
and play.
Does this game let you do that?
Nope.
This doesn't
Are
have
they
multiplayer.
saying that it doesn't, or is to come, or is it? This is it. This is the game is out now.
I've only seen single player.
So, for me, multiplayer is an integral part of the gaming experience.
Because we like to play together.
it all the time together. Maybe that's not, and I understand that's not everyone, but for me, it is a huge, important part of the game. If I'm going to pay $60 release day price for it.
Yeah.
And to go back to the Nile thing, right? They make one of you can't just go through it with a friend. Okay? One of the people has to beat the level before you can play with that person or summon that person into your world. It blows my mind. I can't get my head around why they choose that when why not just let two people go play the fucking
Yeah.
game?
Experience it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the start. I mean, how dumb is it to bring somebody into your world that's beaten the game or beaten the level
Yeah.
and knows where everything is and knows what to do? That's not a.
That's not fun.
That's not
It's not
excitement.
cooperative.
That's not excitement. It's not cooperative. Exactly. So that's kind of a tangent, but so I'm waiting for that game. You know, another great game we played is Salt and Sanctuary when we talk about Dark Souls-like games.
Because that game doesn't force me out of your game when
It
we beat a
doesn't.
boss.
It's the best co-op experience. The problem with it is it's on one screen, and you basically have to coordinate your moves together because the camera can't watch both characters. And so you end up dying a lot from one character jumping off a ledge, doesn't know where he's going because the other character doesn't want to go there. And so that's the biggest issue with that game from a gameplay standpoint. But the way they integrate the co-op is perfect. And I am waiting for a game that will give the Dark Souls experience
The multiplayer you want.
with just straight up two people,
Join your game, go kick some ass.
go kick some ass.
Yep.
Make the enemies have twice the health. Make them have twice the attack. I don't care. We already know it's hard. We want it to be hard. Let's just, if we want to play together, let's fucking play together. Why do we have, we shouldn't have to have an 8-hour ordeal to connect to the server and play.
Yeah.
So, total tangent. Sorry I had to get on that, but I had to get that off my chest. I
Fair
don't
enough.
care.
Fair enough.
For me, I'm going to give this game an initial impression a 7. That's
enough.
going to be my initial impression for this game. I don't believe it's a $60 purchase.
It's not.
It's a $20 purchase or a rent to try it out and see what we're talking about.
Yeah, if you really like
Right,
it,
and
if
if
you
you love
rent it
it,
and you like it, go buy it.
And you can justify it in your mind for $60, then by all means buy it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a game, I think, that is worth playing.
And it's a step in the right direction for Focus and Deck 13.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, I'm Beast from Dealing with the Beast. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Dan Van is in town. Thanks for joining us. J-Dog, thank you so much for putting your comments in. It means a lot. And so I want you guys to click around us because you're going to see some videos on the screen. I'm going to put a big old D3B3 right over Dan's face there and just cut him out of the screen because it's what I do. And check out some other videos. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment if you want to see more videos like this. Tell us what you thought about the Surge. And subscribe to Dealing with the Beast for more awesome game reviews like this one. I'm Beast.
I'm J-Dog.
Dan.
Good night.